You know I couldn't really get by without making a video about this. Juraj Slafkovsky, first overall pick by the Montreal Canadiens in the 2022 NHL Entry Draft, has been in the receiving end of a hearing notice that will happen later today. Now, I don't know when the announcement of any suspension is going to happen. It just said on the NHL Player Safety Twitter a few hours ago that he will have a hearing today for boarding Detroit's Matt Luff, and I wanted to make a video about the hit. Obviously, it's a game between two of my favorite teams, my second and third favorite team, that in which the Montreal Canadiens actually won in a shootout, but Juraj Slafkovsky was the guy that took all the headlines because, with 5 minutes left in the third period in a tie game, he went out there and absolutely laid a brutal hit on, as we said, Detroit Red Wings forward Matt Luff. Luff had just come back from getting a puck to the face no more than a week and a half ago. And he had been playing the past few games with protection around the face, you know, that little thing that wraps around the jaw on the helmet. He took that off today, or not today, yesterday, and ended up receiving a terrible hit from one Mr. Juraj Slafkovsky himself. He's going after the puck in front of the Canadiens bench, and he fans on the dump-in. After he fans on the shot, he kind of stumbles a little bit, but right behind him is Juraj Slafkovsky, eyeing him down and hitting him pretty much in the numbers right into the boards. Luff goes face first into the blue light advertisement in front of the Canadiens bench. He has to take the helmet off, he is bleeding, there's blood on the ice, and he leaves the game. Juraj Slafkovsky gets a 5-minute major and a game misconduct, and the Red Wings are unable to convert. Now, when it comes to the magnitude of dirty hits, yeah, no, you want to talk about the Josh Anderson and Pietrangelo one? This one was way worse. And, of course, because this one is featuring Juraj Slafkovsky rather than Josh Anderson, it's a lot more of a conversational hit, I guess you could say. People are going to be talking about this one comparative to the Anderson one. And obviously, you know, Slafkovsky's a big dude. Matt Luff's a tad smaller. Juraj Slafkovsky is 6'4", 230-something pounds. He was the biggest, or not the biggest, but one of the heaviest players in the entire NHL. Meanwhile, Matt Luff, who had played a few years in the NHL, but not really as a full-time guy, I mean, he's 6'2", 196, but you could definitely see when a guy's off balance and kind of leaning forward like he was, it definitely adds more danger to the hit. We also had ourselves an update earlier today saying that Red Wings forward Matt Luff will be out 10 to 12 weeks following wrist surgery. So, it appears that there were multiple points of contact when Luff hit the boards by Slafkovsky's hit. Not just his face, but also the wrists and the hands, etc. You could see it on the video as well. And I just gotta go out there and say, man, there's no real defending this one. I mean, it's a bad hit for Slafkovsky to give out, but at the same time, it could have been way worse. Slafkovsky, you could definitely see, did not go 100% with finishing his check. He kind of just pushed the guy over a little bit, and then it looked sort of like he was trying to catch him as Luff was falling, but of course he wasn't able to do that. Slafkovsky then gets involved in a scrum because the Red Wings don't like that, etc., etc. There are multiple things that can be true at once. Sure, was Slafkovsky kind of laying off the gas pedal a little bit? Yes, but at the same time, was this also a hit that Slafkovsky probably should not have made because the guy was in a very vulnerable position and he pretty much threw the guy into the boards face first? Yes, that can be true as well. Unfortunately for Uri, you're just going to have to learn. Sometimes, even though you're a big dude, you've got the physical tools, some hits, for the benefit of the safety of those around you, probably not the best to go out there and make. Oh, but Lego, Matt Luff was vulnerable. That's his fault. Slafkovsky shouldn't be getting the boot for giving out a body check. That happens all the time in NHL games. Well, yeah, but I mean, look at Slafkovsky the entire way through when he's going to make the hit. He's looking at the numbers the entire time. You know, in those youth bantam hockey jerseys you have, there's a stop sign in the back. Yeah, that's kind of why. You don't want to see hits like this. And Slafkovsky, unfortunately, is going to be on the brunt end of a suspension, most likely because, yeah, that was a bad hit. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go out there and say suspension flat out because, you know, the NHL Department of Player Safety, they like to spin that Wheel of Fortune wheel to decide these punishments. So if Slafkovsky gets like 4 or 5 games, I wouldn't be surprised. If Slafkovsky gets like a $5,000 fine, I wouldn't be surprised either. That's just how inconsistent the NHL suspensions have been when they're handed out, so we'll just see what exactly it is Slafkovsky gets. I know some people like to bitterly say, oh, suspend Slafkovsky for the amount of time that Luff is out. But yeah, Luff is going to be out for 2.5 to 3 months, so I don't necessarily think it's all too appropriate to suspend a guy in his first overall rookie campaign who actually hasn't been a bad player for 2 to 3 months worth of play. We'll see what the NHL Department of Player Safety does. But either way, if you're a Red Wings fan, talk in the comments how pissed off you were that Juraj Slafkovsky went out there and delivered the hit. How unlucky is it that out of all the people that ended up receiving the hit, it was Matt Luff, the guy that was just injured earlier on by his own hand as the puck deflected off of his own stick into his own face just a week and a half ago, which required a face mask jaw protection thing, and he was out for a little bit too. The guy's been very unlucky, and this just happened to be next up in a series of unfortunate events for this guy. Canadiens fans, there's another game today against the Vancouver Canucks. Talk to the comments on your thoughts about Slafkovsky, the injury, the hit, whether or not you think the Department of Player Safety is going to give the hammer down to Uri. I will say, at the time of recording this audio, there has not been an announcement yet as to how long Slafkovsky is going to be suspended, if he even gets suspended in the first place, but either way, he is having a hearing. We'll see what happens. Talk to the comments on your thoughts about the game. I guess you could talk about the game a little bit. Yeah, we've got to fill out the extra 2 minutes to make the video 8 minutes so I can get some more ads in there. Yeah, making YouTube videos is my full-time job. So, yeah, the Canadiens ended up winning in a shootout, even though the Red Wings got themselves a 5-minute major, that in which they weren't able to capitalize on. Goals in this one came from Mike Hoffman because he's been on an absolute heater, second goal of the year, and then his third goal in the year as well. Austin Czarnik and Lucas Raymond got the goals for Detroit. Of course, overtime does not go out there and accomplish anything, so the Red Wings end up going to a shootout, supported only by a goal by David Perron. Meanwhile, for the Montreal Canadiens, you had yourselves Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki getting goals, with Suzuki inevitably having the game winner. So, nice to see Cole Caulfield and Suzuki getting their chops once again. Montreal went 0 for 1 in the power play, which is okay. I mean, you're allowed to go 0 for 1 in the power play. Meanwhile, the Red Wings went 0 for 7. And yeah, I know the Red Wings had a better game. Even on Money Puck, it said that the Red Wings had like a 70% chance to win, I believe it was. But unfortunately, Jake Allen just kind of was really good. And the power play reflects that. The low-scoring score depicts that. And the Red Wings, I mean, you could say they got to work on their power play. You could. But at the same time, he had guys hitting crossbars. Dylan Larkin looked really good. He was just really unlucky with the amount of goals that didn't go in after he took the shots. But either way, it was a Montreal win on the score sheet, a Montreal loss for the man bodies, with Juraj Slafkovsky most likely going to get a suspension. The Red Wings special teams were bad. I mean, 0 for 7's pretty bad, but at the same time, they kind of got goal leads, so who really knows whose fault that is. Talk to the comments on your thoughts about the suspension to be, and I say to be, it hasn't been announced yet, the hit itself, the game, all this stuff. We made it to 8 minutes, so yeah, I'm gonna go now. I'm such a sleazy YouTuber, aren't I? I hope you're able to forgive me for that. But either way, talk to the comments on your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.